Bon après-midi tout le monde. Good afternoon, everyone. Wherever you live, Ontario has a rich Indigenous history. I live in Guelph, the treaty lands of the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, covered under Treaty 3, the Between the Lakes Purchase. I want to reaffirm the Green Party's commitment to the truth and reconciliation process, which is vital to combating colonialism and systemic racism. I also want to deeply thank Indigenous peoples for the lessons they have taught me about stewardship, taking care of people, land, and water, today and for the next 7 generations. Stewardship is at the core of what the Ontario Greens are all about, caring for the land, the water, and the people who live here. Each of you are stewards of your community, working hard to serve the people who call your municipality home. I especially want to thank you for the leadership you have provided your community during this extraordinary time. For the last 2 years, Ontario municipalities have been on the front lines of helping residents cope with the COVID-19 pandemic. The closures and lockdowns have impacted schools, local businesses, people's jobs, overwhelmed hospitals, and strained local resources. It's been a very difficult time, and we're not through it yet. And I recognize the tremendous burden that has been placed on municipalities. And I want to thank all of you for stepping up and doing what's necessary to help your residents through this difficult time. I want to reaffirm that the Ontario Greens remain committed to working across party lines with all levels of government to make our community safer and to navigate our way through this ongoing public health crisis. We will get through this together. And when we do, we need to ensure that we're choosing a green and caring recovery for Ontario. We need a recovery that ensures everyone has a safe and affordable place to call home. The housing affordability crisis is affecting every community, from small to large, east to west, north to south, rural to urban. We will not solve this crisis if we continue to impose sprawl on people and communities as the Ford government plans to do. The road to recovery should not pave over the farmland that feeds us and the wetlands that clean our water and protect us from flooding. It's bad for the environment, people's health, and their wallets. It increases costs for municipalities. It makes infrastructure even more expensive. You know, people should not have to spend hours commuting just to find an affordable place to call home. We need a green recovery, not a gray recovery that destroys the places we love and the farmland that so many rural livelihoods depend on. The Ontario Greens have a better plan, a plan that ensures everyone has an affordable place to call home in a community they want to live. A plan to invest aggressively in expanding housing affordability within existing urban boundaries by building 100,000 affordable rental units and 60,000 permanent supportive housing spaces. A plan that works with the private sector to make better use of existing built-up space, that builds the missing middle so we can protect the land that feeds us, the water that sustains us, and the wetlands and forests that protect us. Our plan uploads 50% of all shelter and community housing costs, taking pressure off municipal budgets while still allowing municipalities to maintain management control. Enough with the province downloading costs onto the property tax base. Our plan works with municipal partners to build communities that are sustainable and connected, healthier, more prosperous, and more resilient. Communities that are livable and affordable, where small businesses are thriving, roads are safer, and there is equitable access to parks, amenities, and vital public services. Where schools are safe and childcare is affordable. Communities that are great places to live, no matter who or where you are. Communities that are designed with inclusion and equity, where the color of your skin or your age or the fact that you have a disability does not prevent you from finding an affordable place to call home. Where everyone has access to the mental health and addiction services they need, where healthcare capacity is not stretched to the breaking point, and the people who care for us are treated with respect, being paid fair wages with decent benefits. Where owning a home is not a pipe dream, where everyone has access to reliable broadband, because it will take all levels of government working together to tackle the biggest challenges facing Ontario. The climate crisis, the housing affordability crisis, the mental health crisis. If we want to tackle climate change, we need to talk about transportation, which is the leading source of climate pollution in Ontario. Rural communities have been an afterthought in Ontario's transportation plans for far too long. And that's why the Ontario Greens are proposing investments in low-carbon, affordable transportation solutions like passenger rail, electric buses, and EV incentives and charging stations. Imagine an electric pickup truck that doesn't drain your bank account to fill up and can be used to power your tools at the same time. Imagine rural communities connected by electric buses and passenger rail services. It's time for the Ontario government to step up, to expand train and bus services in rural communities, and finally make projects like the Ontario Northlander a reality again. It's about ensuring rural communities are connected to healthcare and hospitals, childcare, transit, mental health and autism services, and good green jobs, connected to each other and connected through broadband. You know, the Premier might talk a big game about broadband, but we need to see the work on the ground. Announcements alone won't connect rural communities. We need to use local resources to get the work started faster and get the job done. All Ontarians need and deserve internet access. It's an essential services. Remote work, healthcare, and schools have made that abundantly clear. So let's encourage young families to stay in rural communities by building broadband in all corners of the province. So whether it's broadband, transit, housing, mental health, or climate, the Ontario Greens have your back. Rural communities are on the front lines of the climate crisis. Flooding and shoreline erosion in regions along the Great Lakes, droughts affecting farmers, forest fires in the north. Severe weather events are becoming more frequent, severe, and expensive. The Ontario Greens are here to be a partner in making your communities more climate resilient, which is why our plan will create a $2 billion a year climate adaptation fund to prepare municipal and provincial infrastructure to withstand the impacts of the climate crisis. Climate change is nature's tax on everything. The FAO estimates the impact of extreme rainfall and heat alone will cost an additional $6 billion to maintain public buildings and facilities over the rest of this decade. But Doug Ford would rather pump billions into disastrous highway projects, which will supercharge sprawl and pollution and make the climate crisis even more expensive. You know, we have to be honest with people. The climate crisis is making our lives more costly and less affordable. We can't talk about the issue of affordability without committing to real action on climate. And that's exactly why the Ontario Greens have a real plan for real climate action that will crush climate pollution and help you adapt to a changing climate. And we're going to be honest about what it's going to take. We understand how important it is to help rural and remote households and businesses reduce their disproportionately high energy bills. And we can do this with targeted energy efficiency and renewable energy programs that create jobs and reduce energy bills, so your communities can be healthier, safer, and more affordable. Because that's the leadership Ontarians deserve. As we crush climate pollution, we can kickstart a green recovery with new careers and better jobs for hundreds of thousands of people, and improve business opportunities for thousands of green entrepreneurs. The green economy is there for the taking in Ontario. We can support a made-in-Ontario supply chain for electric vehicles and battery storage. We can integrate clean tech solutions into our industrial processes. We can support farmers growing the feedstock for bioproducts and invest in climate-smart and regenerative agriculture. We can put thousands of construction and tradespeople to work, making our buildings more energy efficient, saving people and businesses money by saving energy, and create new careers and better jobs for rural Ontarians as we make Ontario a clean tech giant in the fastest growing sectors of the global economy. But to make that a reality, we need a government that takes the climate crisis seriously and understands the prosperity generated by the green economy. Green MPPs will work with you to build the communities people want. To make this happen, we need the right leadership, vision, and the political will to make it happen. To create communities that are more prosperous, sustainable, affordable, and healthy. So let's get to work now on building the Ontario we all want. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.